Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeartRadio network, the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France, and of course, I want to say Canada. You know we love you, Canada, but there's something about the good old boys down south in the land of the free, in the home of the brave. You know we love you so much. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south, Big C?
I think the weather's starting to act up down here. You know, we got this thing called humidity. It's warm and, you know, it ain't a fat guy's best friend, I'll tell you that. You know,
oh, yeah.
You start perspiring, your skin gets all sticky. And so, you know, and I don't even have any cotton candy on me, so that's what worries me.
Yeah, that's funny. You know, today is a beautiful, it's kind of hot in California. It's April the 20th, 2017, in the land of the free and the home of the brave. And there's so much happening in the world of sports. You know, basketball, NBA style is where it really gets exciting. And Russell Westbrook scored a lot of points, but it really didn't help his team because he needs to learn to pass the ball more in the fourth. And also we have baseball. Some guys are swinging the bat very well over in Boston. But Big C, before we even get into that, I want to touch a little bit about Hollywood. You know how we do the Hollywood angle, and they talked about how many women are beautiful or what men are beautiful. We know that beauty is always in the eye of the beholder. There's so many beautiful people on the planet. But I want to take a little umbrage with Julia Roberts being named the most beautiful woman in the world for the 5th time in a row. I mean, some people need to get out of the neighborhoods that are very gentrified and segregated. They haven't been down to the Caribbean where you've been. They haven't been throughout the country to see the potpourri of beautiful women all over the planet. But to name one person 5 times out of about 7 billion people on the planet, who's the one in charge of that garbage, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, I heard of this thing called Miss America, Miss Universe.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of think that the women that are in those patches are quite striking. Matter of fact, I thought about kidnapping a couple, but then all of a sudden...
Don't be like Donald Trump. Don't be Donald Trump now.
I backed away from that thought. So, you know, one is being biased towards someone based on what they do for a living.
Yeah.
And there's a plethora of actresses in Hollywood that are just quite striking, Charles.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you look at some of the wives of the actors that are in the Oscars this past year, I mean, it looked like a who's who of beauty.
Yeah, definitely.
And so to name one individual 5 times, and I believe the first time she was named was back in the 90s, you know, around 92, 93.
Yeah.
And I understand that age has this graciousness, you know. There's a lot of women age gracefully.
Yeah.
But there are so many beautiful young women around the world, and even especially in America, Charles.
Yeah.
That we see on television, we see in magazines, and I'm not knocking Julia Roberts. She's a very wonderful, striking woman. But to sit there and say the most beautiful woman and not give these other gorgeous women any time of day or any, you know...
No thought, no consideration.
I think it's very, very biased. You know, it comes down to a racial thing.
Yeah. I tell you what, Big C, when I think about that, and a lot of times, you know, women of color all over the planet, there are people all over the place, but you have some gorgeous women out there. It's not just about Julia Roberts being Caucasian, even though we know it's a Caucasian magazine that chose that person, and the person who made the choice probably was not very well involved with other groups of people, Big C. And I look at what happens in the world of Hollywood. You have Margaret Robbie. I believe she's Australian. She's gorgeous. If you're looking for the Caucasian flavor, you also have Eva Mendes. I mean, she has a gorgeous Latin look. You have the beautiful, and I think one of the most beautiful women in the world, no matter what continent you're on, has to be Rihanna. I mean, not only is Rihanna beautiful, she's talented, she's sexy, she can act, she has a rhythm, she has a soul about her, and she has a universal look. There's also Halle Berry. We know we've been around the block with Halle Berry. She's also one of the most beautiful women in the world. But there's so many gorgeous looking women out there. But to name one Caucasian woman 5 times by a Caucasian-owned magazine, and nobody's saying you have to be fair and everything, right? But if you're going to say in the world, I mean, not one of the most beautiful women maybe in Hollywood, but in the world, there's so many good-looking women that you wouldn't even take a second look at Julia Roberts, just being honest, because we've traveled so much. There's so much more to look at. I think they need to get more than one lens on that camera. Big C, that make any sense?
I don't even know if they've been to France, when they talk about the most beautiful woman in the world. You look at the French Riviera, you look at Monaco, Charleston. I mean, I even look at the new princess over in England.
Yeah.
Kate Middleton, who's a very gorgeous, striking woman. You miss Paula Patton, who was one of the most gorgeous women in Hollywood. She was married to Robin Thicke.
Yeah.
And so the list goes on and on. I think about John Legend's wife, who was just a gorgeous.
Oh, Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen's gorgeous.
Secret models in the world, Charlton. I mean, we can look at the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition if you want to see some striking women, Charlton. But there's a lot of bias when you go into people and you're trying to look at someone's career and you're trying to prolong that, perpetuate it for an individual.
Yeah.
I think that had a lot to do with naming her what they named her, because I don't know if it's just, but it is the world that we live in of biases, Charlton.
Yeah.
Pick who you want to have representing whatever culture that you deem is ahead of everybody.
Yeah, and that's People magazine that did that. And another guy, they talk about George Clooney. I mean, let's just be honest. Put George Clooney in a locker room full of NFL athletes, and you would think he's a trainer. You wouldn't think he's one of the most gorgeous-looking men in the world. And I'm not knocking him. He is what he is. But beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But I know what turns a woman's head. And if they didn't think George Clooney was wealthy, if he was just the average guy driving a taxi cab or working at a grocery store, women would not stop and look twice at that guy, especially when you're working around the world of athletes who have bodies like Greek gods, like African gods. And I think when you say beauty's in the eye of the beholder, I don't know too many guys that weigh about 130 pounds and about 5'7" that turn a lot of heads, Big C. Now, am I being macho biased, Big C? Does that make any sense, Big C?
Standing next to Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a universal face, and Tim Tebow is a very striking man.
Yeah.
Very physically fit, very solid, very articulate, and well-spoken. But this is a man that can work as a model in any agency.
Yeah.
He's very. I mean, Tom Brady. As much as we laugh.
No, Tom Brady is not good looking. Believe me, he's not. He's media made, Big C. You seen him running around in the nude. He's not someone. If he didn't play football.
I wasn't at your party.
Okay, I'm just saying.
I don't even want to promote anybody.
Okay. Hey.
Tom Brady's very Madison Avenue and striking and chiseled as far as his facial features. Charlton, you can go up and down
I would say
the striking men of the NFL. You put together a calendar of good-looking athletes, whether it's the NHL. I mean, you see some of the greatest bodies in the NHL when you look at the athleticism of these men on ice, Charlton. They have so much padding on them like football players.
Yeah.
You look at the NBA, I mean, you can look up and down the ledger in the NBA, and it doesn't even have to come to a color barrier, Charlton, when you look at athletes.
Yeah.
Look at some of the great soccer players in the world. Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's a very appealing man when you look at him.
He's too skinny. He's too skinny, Big Z. I'm looking at guys like Tyson Beckford. Some of the athletes, there's a brother that plays football used to be for the New York Jets. Now he just got signed with the Giants, Brandon Marshall. Very strong looking guy, very chiseled looking man, a macho, kind of like the African gods when you think about men that women turn their second look at. Down there, you were just down on the southern part of the planet. And I know there's so many people with that golden brown skin. It looks so beautiful. Now in America, if you have that skin color, it's kind of been marginalized, but people pay $1 billion a year collectively for suntan machines to get that bronze look. So I'm just looking about how can we make like a garden, a rose garden. There's more than, paleness is fine for some people, but worldwide, that pale look just doesn't do it. That's just my own preference. So if I had the Big C magazine,
when you look at it, why does everybody love the summertime? Because they're trying to get complexion.
Yeah.
They're trying to get darkness in their skin that they're not satisfied with being that pale color.
Yeah.
Darkness is the color that's the universal chase.
Yeah.
Everyone is trying to get as close to an African skin complexion as they can.
Yeah.
Women lay out for hours. Companies are laying billions and billions of dollars for skincare products that will make you darker.
Yeah.
Yes, synthetic suntan booths.
Yeah.
That Caucasian
starting to get dark. Yeah, I understand. And so that's really a message, because Big C Sports, we're worldwide and we're listened to all over the planet. I want all women, no matter what color, what hue, all life came from Africa, according to Dr. Leakey and Gregor Mendel, and they're the best paleontologists, former paleontologists, and also studied genetics. Dr. Leakey and Gregor Mendel, all life came from the Nile region of Africa, and then it spread out throughout the planet. But for women all over the world, I want them to be able to look at a magazine and not just see someone who's pale, considered the sexiest woman alive. And again, according to WHO, I just want to say this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Big C, we talked about the Big C. We're going to have the Big C most beautiful woman in the world and the Big C most beautiful man in the world. We're going to mix it up. We're going to add some color into this whole diaspora of beauty. Yeah. Hey, Big. Hey, do the good old girls down south, do they suntan the way they do out here in California? You think that only California sells suntanning booths. You believe it? In 2017, it's been known to cause cancer, but you still find people paying to go get cooked inside of a suntan machine. Do they do that in the South, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, no, I'm telling you, they lay out on the riverbed here and stuff, lay out in the parks. But, they're not enamored with what you people in California are. You have to do that golden brown all the time.
Yeah.
They let Mother Nature take its course out here, and they walk around in their Daisy Dukes.
Yeah.
Things like that, their white beaters on. But, it's more of a natural laid-back climate here.
Oh, yeah.
We're not as pressed to try to impress people.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference in the lifestyles between the two. We're not going to lay over and have a heart attack down here because we're worried about
Yeah. Well, we know they said they wish they all could be California girls. I think that was the beat. I don't know who was the Beatles. Who sang that song, Big C? You think I know, but that's... It
was the Beach Boys.
The Beach Boys. Okay, the Beach Boys. Also, Tupac sang it, too, when he talked about California love. And speaking of California love and music and who sang what, speaking of one of the most, I guess, intriguing looks on the planet, you have to look at none other than the late Prince. Not only was he a musical genius, Prince had a look that worldwide people clamored to him, even though he was not a statuesque man, Big C. He did have a lot of features that a lot of people liked. And when you look around the world of music, I go back to the great Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye had, he had women's suitors, kind of like people have socks in their closet, Big C, or in their drawers. So he had a very appealing look too. And I just want to acknowledge People Magazine. Get outside of your own block and see what's happening all over the world when you start naming someone 5 times out of 7 billion people, Big C. And speaking of that, I just want to ask you this question. You brought it up, and I just saw it on the news last night. They let go of the molester guy. What's his name? Bill O'Reilly, the guy that was molesting women, or sexual assault, whatever it's called. They let go of him finally, Big C?
Bill O'Reilly on Fox, Charlton, Fox News. It's really fake news channel.
Yeah,
that's what Fox
fake news.
For.
Yeah.
Let Bill O'Reilly go with the mounting amount of sexual assault. Fox News had settled 4 to 5 claims in the past where they had paid off women. But I guess Bill O'Reilly felt that there was an endless pit that he could just, do whatever he wanted to as far as sexual harassment, sexual misconduct within the company.
Yeah.
And there was a sigh of relief within the women of the company because they were so happy to see him go. But, it shows what white money will do to tolerate money, okay?
Yeah.
Is that because he was a cash cow, as they say, the top-rated, person on air, is that you tolerated this harassment and beratement of women. That women became not even second-class, but third-class women within the Fox system. Yeah. And, this started over a decade ago with Bill O'Reilly at Fox. Yeah. And Fox tolerated it. So women have had to go through this aggressive abuse by Bill O'Reilly because he was protected by the company, Charles. Yeah. But that serves in America. Now, he's one of the top backers of President Donald Trump. Yeah. And backing him because sexual abuse claims that, women have brought against the President Trump.
Well, let me ask you this question.
Has run with this for years, Charles.
Well, Big C, where's Donald Trump going to go to get his news if he can't watch another pedophile or molester on television giving the news, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, I'm wondering if he's going to come out now that Bill O'Reilly is a great guy that was falsely accused and wrongfully terminated.
Yeah.
Is he going to back it investing money in that, you know? I think he will jump over time. But, you know, Bill O'Reilly, you know, was wrong. Here's what's wrong in American society.
Yeah.
Is that you protect a sex offender on national television and behind this shield because of money. That you can, you know, do this to people, and these women have been denigrated over time.
Yeah.
And he's been allowed to walk around and keep his reputation. Somebody will hire this guy. You think about it.
You think so? You think so?
And be a sex offender, Jonathan. No,
yeah.
He'll be hired. He's been around a long time. He's a white guy that will walk under the radar, and somebody will bring him in.
But what does that say to the women? What does that say to the women that work for any network that would bring on a known sex offender and have him work around other women, because that opens up so much liability? It's a shame that Donald Trump vouched for this guy. The same Donald Trump that grabs women by the crotch vouched for this Bill O'Reilly, and I hope people realize that. Rush Limbaugh also vouched for this guy, and so did Sean Hannity vouch for this guy. And now the truth has been told, and Big C, you talked about it right around the holidays. There's no way that Fox would keep on past the springtime, so I want to say you're right again on that. But Donald Trump vouched for this guy. That same Donald Trump doesn't want Colin Kaepernick to have a job in the NFL, and he never sexually molested anybody. Big C, your thoughts?
But that's the type of person we have as a president. He has sex offenders as friends because he runs in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay? And so when you're backing sex offenders, and people, they're going to say, Bill O'Reilly's hands, he's been doing this for 12 years of lawsuits.
Yeah.
Okay, so how much a chance does he need? This is the same guy who bashed President Obama every night. Okay?
Yeah.
He bashed the guy who lived right, who did not sexually offend or oppress women. But he bashed him every night to cover for his own sins.
Yeah.
And this is what the people on Fox do, Jonathan, because they're such hypocrites, you know, and sycophants, is that they sit there and tell people negative, unpopular stuff, thinking that they're making a name for themselves. If they were to be honest, you know, the thing that I hate is that nobody on Fox is sitting there and saying, hey, Bill O'Reilly was let go for offending women sexually, for making inappropriate sexual misconduct opinions toward women.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to say that. These are his buddies. These are the same guys he do. So you think that Sean Hannity, Tucker Frederickson, and the rest of the cast, you know, Jesse Waters didn't do and say the same thing on Waldo?
Yeah.
You know, Dennis Miller, the guy he would have on his show all the time?
Yeah, all the time.
Not that same type of person, Jonathan.
Well,
committed the same sexual offenses and misconduct towards women. If you were hanging out with Bill O'Reilly, you did, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Because the comments that he made, and you applauded the comments he made, meant that you were the same type of sick individual that Bill O'Reilly was.
And I want to bring this up, too, because sexual assault, it happens, they say, every 20 seconds in the United States, which seems...
Well, with Bill O'Reilly, it was about every 10 seconds.
Yeah, about every 10 seconds with him. But it seems unrealistic to say every 20 seconds that a woman in the United States of America is assaulted. And most of the people doing it are white men. They're the majority of the country. And most white women don't even come forward because they don't want to lose their economic status, or they live in a comfortable environment, so they say. So they put up with it. But I want to bring this up because since we've had this exportation going on, it's affecting all women too, especially women, Hispanic women. The sexual assault is up in those communities because a lot of people are afraid to call the police because there's been mass deportations, Big C. I want to bring up this point because it's so powerful and it ties to sports, because if we talk about it in the sports world where everybody at least has an opportunity to give their opinion, okay? Ex-Utah State football player, I won't say he's a football player, but ex-Utah State player, he does play football, I won't say his name. A Utah judge ruled Wednesday, just yesterday, that there is enough evidence against a former Utah State football player accused of sexually assaulting 7 women. I think O'Reilly assaulted 12 women. Okay, Donald Trump assaulted over a half dozen women. Okay, they assaulted more than this football player who's on trial. Okay, they're talking about sending him to prison. Bill O'Reilly and Donald Trump, they wrote a check. Now, I want everyone who thinks about justice being justice, especially women who face sexual assault. White society, these judges are saying it's okay to assault women if you have enough money. And that's why O'Reilly's not facing criminal charges. And that's why Donald Trump's not facing criminal charges. So if you're a Caucasian woman and you're in the social economic bracket where your man has money, your chances of having that man punished are almost slim to none, because he has more value in the criminal justice system in the eyes of white judges than you do as a woman. Big C, your thoughts on that?
That's so profound, and we see this all the time with these settlements that these guys are allowed to pursue. When you look at the prison system and you see so many minority men, and yes, if they've committed a sexual assault, they need to be locked up, Charlton.
Yeah.
But to have these white men escape sexual assault because they can pay their way out of it, they can hire a high-priced attorney.
Yeah.
So they negotiate the settlement. These are criminal offenses. Yes, the civil part takes precedence over the criminal.
Yeah.
Which is kind of backwards, Charlton, because if you're white and well off, you only pursue civilly, Charlton.
Yeah.
They take the criminal aspect out of it. So you can be a wealthy rapist, and it's only a civil matter. That's what's wrong. The violation of a woman's person is wrong. It states it in law that you should be tried for violating this person, Charlton. But they say, give us some money and we'll drop it.
Yeah.
No, give her the money and still stand trial.
And still stand trial.
Trial with 11 women, 12 women on the jury, Charlton.
Yeah.
To sit there and say, you raped somebody, you sexually assaulted somebody, and make sure all of those women on the Charlton, on that jury, have had someone do that to them. That should be a criteria.
Yeah, and see,
for any rape trial, Charlton, it should be a criteria to have women on the jury that have been assaulted. So that these guys know what they're facing when they sit there and look at these men that have gone through what they've done to that woman that is sitting there accusing you of this scenario, Charlton, that you've assaulted. But we have too many rich people, Charlton, over the years that have gotten off because of these scenarios, Charlton, because you have money. It's only a civil matter.
Well,
and so when we talk about blind justice in America, Charlton, we have economic justice in America.
Yeah, and when you think about that too, Big C, O'Reilly, according to the allegations and what's happened being terminated, okay, let's just assume he's guilty. Of course, you say innocent until proven guilty. But here's a gentleman. He's not black. He gets that white boy treatment. But this gentleman that played at Utah State had also signed a free agent contract to play NFL football with the Atlanta Falcons. How does sports mix with politics? Well, he maintains his innocence, okay? However, he is jailed and without bail. He maintains his innocence, but he is jailed without bail. Donald Trump, we heard him on tape saying what he does to women, grabbing them by the vagina. We had women come forward and say that he did that to them, and they kind of disappeared. I mean, I don't know where they are now. Maybe they paid them off. Maybe they were threatened. We don't know. And the women who accuse white men, they tend to disappear. But this one guy that was Green is in jail without the possibility of bail. Now, I want people to think about that. Why was his sexual assault any more egregious than any of these good old boys, Riley and Donald Trump? I mean, you got to ask yourself that question if you're a woman and you defend these guys, because I assume you have a mother if you're on the planet, and you may have a daughter or a niece or a cousin. And if men don't stand up and protect women, then who's going to? And unfortunately, Big C, it's going to take black men that have to stand up and say it, because that's what Big C Sport is all about. We say it on every program. There's never any excuse for domestic violence or sexual assault on any woman. But these white guys, like, you think he'll get a job elsewhere? I'd like to think he would not, because they're going to open themselves up to liability. But POTUS got a job, so I guess you're right when it comes to that, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, it's always been that way, John. But we look at a starting NFL quarterback that's been accused of sexual assault in 2 different states within a year.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happened to him, sanctions by the NFL. But we get NFL players that are black smoking a little weed.
Yeah.
They're suspended from 4 games to a year.
Yeah.
So smoking a little weed, the white sexual assault, it's okay to keep quarterbacking and going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because you're a marquee player in the NFL and you have to be of white stature. So we've seen this up and down the board, Dalton.
Yeah.
The different treatment of society, how it's looked at.
Yeah.
When you look at sports, these things go on all the time. And when you look at society, these things go on all the time. It's about who you hear about. And even in sports, it's an economic disparity there.
Yeah.
As far as what players make, this quarterback, with a $100 million contract, he can get out of stuff.
Yeah.
He can play off somebody civilly, and he done with it. But jails.
Yeah, yeah.
For some crimes, and maybe not some heinous crimes. But still, it has not been a level of parity for the punishment that is gone, whether it's in private life or whether it's in athletic life, Charles.
Well, Big C, I want to ask you this question, but first I want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports, it's the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. If you need insurance, go to Ben & Mark and Big C Sports for athletic insurance, whether you're a pro athlete, a collegiate player, or even you're a high school athlete or your mom and pop soccer league player. Ben & Mark got you covered. Go to Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide on the iHeartRadio network. Before we get into a little bit of the NBA, what happened last night, I just want to bring up this point because you talked about it. Maybe that moonshine makes you clairvoyant, okay? I'm starting to think I should sip some myself, Pixie, okay? I think it was Earl Campbell back in the day. He said, "Don't let the smooth taste fool you," or was that Billy D. Williams? But one of them, I think it was Billy D. Williams. But think about this, because some things come to mind, and you have to see it the second time. We talked about protecting women, okay? Not just about who won the game, but protecting women, like our mothers and our daughters and our wives and girlfriends. Now, I know we just had this White House session with the New England Patriots, but they had on front of several newspapers Bob Kraft and Belichick, great coach and great owner. But they're standing there with Donald Trump, and I wish that someone played that tape, grabbing them by the vagina, even though he said a more cruel word of the anatomy. And then you have Bill O'Reilly, someone that Donald Trump defended. When you know there have been women who've been sexually assaulted every 20 seconds in this country. Now, this is the White House, the highest, supposedly, the most moral place in the land. We know that's a farce. But how do you have these owners of the New England Patriots, Bob Kraft, and Bill Belichick stand there to a guy that brags about assaulting women? And I believe the New England Patriots, they also hire women in their organization the same way Fox Television did. Your thoughts, Big C?
Well, Charles, when you look at that as an iconic figure of the NFL and the nation's leader, and to have this type of lamination go on, but this guy has been very offensive to women. I think it's atrocious. But, I guess it's a photo op because it's always been the whole thing that you visit the White House. But to visit under such auspicious conditions, with the loss of Aaron Hernandez's life yesterday.
Yeah.
The same time that the Patriots hit the White House, and this is also that we've lost a few soldiers as of late because of the president's actions.
Yeah.
And to sit there and smile like he's doing nothing wrong or has done nothing wrong, Charlton, and to sit there and think that he's representing the NFL. I think that's why so many Patriots didn't show, Charlton.
Yeah.
If you look at the actual numbers of every New England Patriots players, roster members, did not show up to the White House. That's a true representation of the NFL. You think about it, when 2/5 of your organizational players do not show up, and you can come up with whatever reason you can.
Yeah.
I think even Tom Brady has realized some of the backlash for being involved with this individual.
Well, he has a wife in Giselle.
I understand his mother's illness and all of that.
Yeah.
And much respect to him about caring about his parents. But also, it's an easy slide to utilize that to walk away from not being labeled once again because he knew that the press would eat him up on his stance about Donald Trump, that they could not be quiet, without asking him, and he could not avoid him because he was going to be on showcase. The rest of the players mean nothing.
Yeah.
But he meant everything to the media, and he knew, and his agent said, this is an appearance that you cannot make. You make back the guys, and this is an appearance that you cannot afford to make in these critical political times. But, in backing him through Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, their greatness in the sport does not diminish.
Exactly.
But their greatness as a person does, Charlton. As far as standing behind this individual and what he stands for.
Yeah.
It means that you have some feelings along those lines also.
So Bexy, that's so powerful, and this is gripping conversation because every 20 seconds, that means every minute for you good old boys down south, at least 20 women, I guess a woman every 20 seconds assaulted in this country. Okay, for you good old boys, that might seem a little bit funny, but we're not trying to be funny. It's real serious because,
Look at the Stanford rapists, okay?
Yeah.
White skin privilege, you rape a woman, everybody kept you doing it.
Yeah.
You get 3 months in jail because you're rich, your family's rich.
Yeah.
And young man's life. It's just a woman that he raped.
Yeah, well,
That's basically what he's saying.
let me ask you
And
this.
then the most appalling thing about it, Shelton,
Yeah.
up in your great country of Canada,
Yeah.
several months ago, that a judge had the audacity to say on the bench to a rape victim,
Yeah.
if you had kept your legs closed, this wouldn't have happened.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
That's deplorable, Charlton. This man should have been removed from the bench and locked in the jail with some sodomites to say, hey, if you had a slap on your back, it may not have happened.
And you know, as gripping as that sounds, Big C, another angle, and I'm bringing you these angles because I talk to women who've been dealing with assault or even helping women who get assaulted, and they try to get through it. Just think about this, okay? Donald Trump took out an ad, a 4-page ad in the New York Times. It's called the New York 5, about these 5 innocent black boys that were accused of raping a woman, and they were exonerated through DNA after many of them had spent time incarcerated, okay? Donald Trump asked for the death penalty against innocent black boys. Now, just suppose that to Aaron Hernandez and the tragedy of whatever happened with the assault and whatever he's accused of, we weren't there, we don't know. But I just opposed that they're saying he had a troubled past. Well, what's more troubling about that, whether he committed that crime or not, even though he maintained his innocence, or POTUS, who took out an ad to put 5 innocent black men to death over something they did not do? Now, what's more egregious?
Did he take out an ad on the Stanford rapist that the evidence was there? DNA, physical, cameras, everything else.
No.
Did he take out an ad on this white kid at Stanford raping a woman behind a trash dumpster?
That's a very good point.
He got no ad of that. He was quiet about that. That was okay. Did he take out an ad on this NFL quarterback who was back him? Okay?
You're right.
These 2 women in 2 different states here in the United States in less than a year. Did he take out an ad on that, Charlton? You know, we got to look at where the political and dollars lie.
Yeah.
You know, certain guys that can make people soft, and it's okay. It's Trump was saying this boys being boys.
Boys being boys, that's a joke.
It's a locker room problem. No, it's not.
Yeah.
You're a criminal, you're a damn criminal. Okay? There's no feathers for a criminal. You know, he's not a white dove. He's just a criminal.
Well, you got...
And for him not to say anything about those 2 guys and to be silent,
Yeah.
because they're the same complexion as him.
Yeah. Well, Big C, we're having a little bit of a problem with your microphone, but I know we'll clear that up. I just want to bring this last point up before we get into a few scores, because the women being assaulted right now, as we're doing Big C Sports at iHeartRadio, they're not concerned with who's winning the game. They're not concerned with who's going to win the championship game. They're not concerned with who's going to go where in the draft pick. They're concerned with calling 911, or are they going to be on the street if they call the police on their abuser that's oftentimes well known, especially if they're well-to-do white men. Last point I want to make about this was Donald Trump standing there with the owner of the New England Patriots, Kraft, and also Belichick. What could a man do? Okay, what heinous act would a man have to do to have some of these NFL owners who employ women in their organizations to say, I'm not going to stand next to that piggish of a person, because as a father, there's no way you can go back and tell your daughter to call authorities when sexual assault happens when you're standing there with a known pedophile. There's no way you can tell your wife to call 911 when sexual assault happens. And it happens every 20 seconds. When you take a picture with a pedophile, whether he's a president like Donald Trump, or you'll take a picture with a guy like O'Reilly, these guys have committed crimes. Okay, these young black men that are being prosecuted for it, the white guy writes a check and everything goes away. What would it take for them to say, I'm not going to stand next to them as they sit there and smile handing him a trophy, knowing that he bragged about grabbing women by the vagina, Big C? Last question on that.
Well, Jonathan, it's so many people in America will sell themselves out for advancement to think that they're changing their financial or social or political stance, that they will accept these situations. And you think about the people that he hired in the White House. I'm not saying that he has, but there has to be some fear-mongering going on.
Oh, yeah.
In the White House when he walks in the room, especially if you're in there by yourself.
Yeah.
And you're a woman. I mean, you have to be on pins and needles the whole time.
Yeah.
He's the president to start with. He's your boss.
Yeah.
So if you don't accept his advances or what he says or the advances that he makes, you're gone.
Yeah.
You know, that's what women have to understand.
It happened to the lady at Fox.
What he says it does.
It happened to the lady at Fox.
You can't say anything if you're in the office by yourself.
Yeah. I mean, that's so powerful. So for women of the world, we know most times you turn into ESPN or Fox Sports, and they're going to give about 5 minutes on don't hit women, don't sexually assault women, that's bad. And then these knuckleheads will take a picture with the guy that's done it. I mean, to me, that's just egregious, but we're going to always call it out as long as we have the opportunity to. Big C, I do want to touch a little bit on the NBA before we close out today's program. But again, for all women, if you're going through that garbage, and for the guys just like O'Reilly, there are probably thousands of them where the women have no voice. And because he's not on Fox Sports or Fox News, those women have no choice when they're working with the guy at the post office or some grocery store or some department store or, God forbid, even law enforcement. We saw that happen in the military, Big C, where the women had to come forward because of what was happening to them. So we want to help women feel safe, and the only way we can do it, you got to expose the perpetrators, okay? Even the old white ones with the money that can write a check. So hopefully Gloria Allred will do more than just get FaceTime defending well-to-do people and put some effort in how to protect women who don't have the same kind of bank account. Big C, last night in the NBA, Russell Westbrook, a great game individually, but a lot of flack being tossed around the airwaves today about Charles Barkley and saying some things about Isaiah Thomas that was not, I think it was taken out of context, and also about Westbrook not being a team player again. He took a lot of shots, but he can't count on anybody else, even though he has to. Big C, your thoughts on Westbrook?
Well, Oklahoma City can't win with Westbrook or without him in the playoffs, Charlie.
Yeah.
But he does take a lot of shots. I mean, I thought the Mamba used to shoot a lot.
Yeah.
He don't kick well compared to Westbrook.
Yeah.
When you shoot the ball 43 times as an individual, I don't care how great you are, how much a team leader you are, that means that teammates don't get shots, okay? They just don't get shots, Jonathan.
Yeah.
And when you miss 26 of those shots, that's not a high percentage.
Yeah.
And I looked at several of those shots he took. He was just forcing instead of kicking out. When you think about some of the great point guards of the past, Jonathan, they would penetrate because they knew they were going to draw the defensive end.
Yeah.
But they also knew how to kick it back out to the guys, the free throw line, on the side, Jonathan.
Yeah.
And give them an open look at the basket. I think Russell Westbrook is a mindset, and being a former athlete, I know how it is when you get selfish.
Yeah.
And there's not an athlete out there or a former athlete who's never been selfish. Otherwise, you're not a great performer because you have to become selfish at times to be the best. You have to take things up your own hand. We heard that with Paul George crying about his teammates.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't give him a last shot that he's never made in his career.
Yeah.
So they got tired of that also.
Yeah.
But with Russell Westbrook, he forces teammates to stand around, Jonathan, because you know you're not going to get the pass. He may lead the league in assists, but he also leads the league in non-assists, Jonathan.
Yeah, well, Big C, let me ask you, at what point would his coach say, timeout, Russell, we're going to need to drop a game plan, and we've got to have everybody touch the ball? That's what Steve Kerr does all the time in Oakland, and everybody on that team can shoot. Why not? I think some of that falls on the coach. That's what coaches are for, to say, hey, wait a minute, we got to follow the system. I know a lot of people want to point to Russell Westbrook. He should be the MVP, but at some point, the coach is being paid to tell guys, wait a minute, we got to get regrouped and reorganized. Do you think any of that falls on the coaching?
Well, Jonathan, I think Billy Donovan is looking for a road out of Oklahoma City. Okay?
You think so?
I don't think he'll be around after this season. Because the cabinet is empty. I don't think Russell Westbrook will stay around. He'll be fighting for a trade to get out of there. And so what do you have left in OKC other than some draft picks?
Yeah.
But, this is a situation with Russell Westbrook. Once Durant left, he said to himself, there's nobody here but me.
Yeah.
I said, I know I got 4 guys out on the court, but they're nobodies. Because who the hell knows who they are?
Yeah.
So he's thinking, if he doesn't score, nobody will, but he hasn't given anybody a chance.
Yeah.
So having players with confidence on the court, that's the difference in winning teams.
Yeah.
Look at Golden State. They put 5 guys out there at once that have confidence, okay?
Yeah.
Oklahoma City puts 1 guy out there that has confidence. Because the rest of the team is confident they're going to hit the ball at any time. And don't let those assists fool you on those triple doubles.
Yeah.
Those assists are not always real assists. It's like your buddy Drake who always sits on the courtside in Toronto. He's not real. He had no choice but to throw the ball to somebody.
I think so.
But a true playmaker, Charlton, goes in the game. John Stockton. Steve Nash, when he was at his best, think about how fluid Magic was in distributing the ball. The real Isaiah Thomas was the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
Never got credit for what he do. And before I was in Boston now, the left-handed kid.
Yeah.
There was a tiny Nate Archibald in Boston.
Oh, yeah.
He was a guru at assists out of Kansas. You know, and so, you know, he got the ball to people, Charlton. And so when you look at guys who give assists
Yeah.
and don't expect anything back from it,
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook is tremendous. But he's not the best that's been. He holds the record. But you can also look at the record of the team when you break records, Charlton.
Yeah, and Big C, that's a really good point that you bring up. And I just want to say that whether they stay or not, I would love to see Westbrook in Los Angeles getting passes from Lonzo Ball. I mean, maybe that's just dreaming, but I think it would bring some moxie and some energy back to the Staples Center when you look at how to build a team. And I know they can't have Timothy Mozgov as the go-to guy, as a big guy down in L.A., but it would just be nice to see some passion back at Staples Center, at least when the Lakers are playing, Big C. You know, another thought, too. Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Dan Marino, when he retired from the NFL, okay?
Yeah.
Was the NFL all-time leading passer.
Yeah.
But he couldn't find a running back that wanted to play with him. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why he never won a championship.
Yeah.
Because no free agent running back wanted to go to Miami when Dan Marino was the quarterback. Because he knew he didn't care about handing off the ball. It was about Dan Marino getting statistics.
Yeah.
All right?
That's true.
So if you think about doing Dan Marino's career as a quarterback with the Miami Dolphins, how many 1,000-yard rushes did Dan Marino have?
That's a very good point. Yep.
Go to San Francisco, Charlton. Look at every Super Bowl that Joe Montana won, okay?
Yeah.
There was a 1,000-yard running back on that team.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl that Steve Young won.
Yeah.
Ricky Waters was a 1,000-yard running back. And I think this guy who won 4 Super Bowls without losing, a guy named Bradshaw, something like that in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
He won 4 Super Bowls and had a 1,000-yard rush on the team every year.
And they call Franco Harris the Italian Stallion.
And talk about statistics, what a quarterback does, okay?
Yeah.
Even with the Jets, not the Jets, but the Giants, O.J. Anderson.
Yeah.
Couple 1,000-yard seasons when the Giants won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you can talk about a quarterback passing the ball, okay?
Yeah.
A meaningless stat if you don't have a 1,000-yard running back.
Well, let me ask you another question too. When you talk about the dynamics between football and basketball, now we talk about Superman. You know, Superman when he doesn't have his cape, he's just Clark Kent. What's up with Dwight Howard? He looks like he just doesn't care, doesn't have the energy. And when they were asking him what happened, he kept saying, "I don't know." And even Charles Barkley and Shaq, they were laughing. I mean, not laughing, but they were saying, "What do you mean you don't know? You're supposed to be the reason that you win." A guy that's 7 feet tall and probably as strong as anybody on the floor, you would think he could impose his will, at least getting rebounds, Big C. What is it with him and his attitude that he just doesn't seem to care, Big C? Your thoughts?
That's one of those good-looking men you were talking about physically.
Yeah.
You know, aesthetically. You know,
Yeah.
Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
I mean, at that height, and a body like that, I think he was hanging out with Jay Cutler.
Yeah, maybe.
Honestly, too, I think he was hanging out with Jay Cutler. Jay rubbed off on him a little bit.
Well,
because that's what you're getting. I mean, like I said, when he was in Orlando early in his career, he had such a stature that he is built.
Yeah.
In the NBA as one of the becoming superstars of the league, one of the cornerstones. But ever since he went to LA, you know, it's in the words of, you know, every kid athlete.
Hey, there's something about Los Angeles that it has some of everything to offer. So sometimes guys are not focused, and if you can stay focused, obviously it helps. But he just doesn't seem. I think he's going to be the same kind of player, no matter how much money he has, Big C. He's going to look back at his career and say, "I could have been, you know, so much more." And I think that's what a lot of athletes lament when they walk away from the game, or no one gives them a job again, Big C. So obviously that's difficult. He's going to have to contend with that. Across the coast, yeah.
You know, you look at athletes.
Yeah.
And I thought about that when I played. I said, you know, this may be my last game all the time because the game was so violent and you can get an injury in any kind of way as a football player, basketball player, baseball player. And I don't see that same fire today in a lot of these young athletes.
Yeah.
But they don't play every game like it's their last game. And so when they talk about a player taking the night off, I don't worry about that because the night before he didn't play that great.
Yeah.
You know? And so
that's funny.
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
He plays every game like it's his last game.
Yeah.
Although he misses a lot of shots like the last shot also.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing I gave him credit for. every game is like the last game he's going to play.
Yeah, and that's
think about it. You got that same intensity from the rest of the NBA.
yeah.
You know, all of a sudden now you got teams averaging 120, 130 points a game, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Not 85 to 90 points a game.
And Big C.
But players in the NBA don't care. They don't give a damn. Like, I'm honest. They don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Because they make so much money.
Yeah.
So they don't think about this game being the last game that they can play. You're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You're going to be eliminated in 4.
Yeah.
And you're out there lackluster, scoring 85 points in a game.
Yeah.
When you should have 125. You're not playing like it's your last game, but you're expecting for it to be your last game.
Well, Big C, that's a very good point. And I love bringing the passion. That's what Big C Sports does every Monday through Friday worldwide on the iHeartRadio network. And I want to go all the way across the coast. You know, number one, John Wall's off the hook. He may be the best point guard in the Eastern Conference. I always thought it was Kyrie Irving, but when I watch John Wall play, my goodness, he's like a small Magic Johnson, but he kind of plays like Baby Jordan. Your thoughts on how great and how dominant John Wall is? And a guy in the Eastern Conference, he doesn't have the physique that Howard has, but he plays like twice the person. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I think he came from that school when your buddy Don Calipari teaches, you know.
Yeah.
And, but John Wall has really matured over the last 3 years in the NBA.
Oh, yeah, he's off the hook.
All-star guard. Big body, 6'4", great ball skills, Jonathan, but he's brought on those leadership skills. I think Greg Todd has helped him a lot in the paint, having a guy who can fill up the paint. But
yeah.
John Wall has become fearless as an NBA player.
Yeah.
And, he came out of college after his freshman year, so it took him a couple of years to get his feet settled in the NBA, one of your Calipari one-and-done guys.
Yeah.
But now that he's established himself as a solid guy after 5 years in the league, Jonathan,
yeah.
He's there. He has his team with a 2-0 lead against Atlanta, which your buddy Dwight Howard don't care.
No.
He'll stay, on a little shack out in the ocean.
Yeah. He want to hang out with Gronkowski at the White House. Yeah.
But that's the difference. When we talk about Jonathan, John Wall is playing like Michael Westbrook.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
When you have Dwight Howard in the same series playing like they cover. The game last night, Jonathan, took almost 3 hours to play.
Yeah.
3 hours. It was so physical, it was ridiculous. Adam Silver was going to have to step up and say, we're going to have to, throw some technicals and kick people out of games.
Well,
that's the thing is going on.
That's funny, Big C. And Golden State jumped all over Portland last night and can't say enough about how well Golden State's playing. And then I want to ask you a question about Michael Eric Dyson. Your thoughts on Golden State just running all over the Portland Trailblazers, who also look like they threw in the towel, Big C.
Well, this was the team that was up on Golden State, 2-1, 3-1 last year.
Yeah.
And got tanked. But Golden State, you and I have talked about it many times, talking about, are they a better team with or without Durant?
I'm starting to wonder.
They're a better team without Durant starting.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And I'll go to the bank with that, whether or not they win a championship this year, but they're a better team without Durant starting. And it's been in everybody's eyes, Jonathan. Right now, there's 17-3.
Yeah.
Since Durant has missed games.
Yeah.
Okay, since we got hurt with that knee injury. I mean, to me, like my kids always tell me, and I tell them I'm not a very smart man.
Yeah.
But I do like math. I like the number 17 over 3 a little more.
Wait, hold on, Big C. Are you giving me the winning lotto tickets tonight? Is that the Powerball number? Just say it one more time if that's the case, Big C.
17 and 3. That's a pretty good percentage. I don't care what sport you play.
Okay.
You gotta like those odds.
Yeah.
We'll put a note on his windshield,
That's funny. That's funny, Big C.
Durant on the bench and you win a championship, he's off the bench. But, I mean, even to the layman person, when you sit there and look and see how productive this team is,
yeah.
Kevin Durant's a great player.
Yeah.
But I think he would be the greatest six-man in playoff history. Forget about what Ray Allen did a few years ago against San Antonio.
Yeah.
That'd be baby crap compared to what Kevin Durant can do in the playoffs if you continuously bring him off the bench and let him constantly bring a spark. That's 25 points a night, Charlton, from one
off
man
the bench
in the playoffs. You can't defend that.
Well, Big C, don't doubt that Kerr listened to Big C Sports, because whether Durant's healthy or not, whether he's healthy or not, Las Vegas style, you did say they would do better bringing him off the bench. And what's happening now, Big C? Is he coming off the what, Big C? All right, you heard it first on Big C Sports, no matter how they play it out on TV. Last thing I want to get into in the final few minutes, Big C. One of the gentlemen that I respect the most, because he's so erudite, he's so well-read. I think I have to have a thesaurus every time I talk to Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. He actually teaches at Georgetown University, and he has been a lot like Big C lately, talking about, POTUS, and then the push against Colin Kaepernick for standing up against what's right, which is equal liberty and justice for all. Okay, liberty and justice for all. That's what Colin Kaepernick stood up against. But these good old boys that are sex offenders and sex predators and all these guys that molest women and these assaulting on women and being sued by it and fired by it, they all told Colin Kaepernick, get the hell out of the country. Okay, just for saying treat black Americans fair. And now you have Dr. Michael Eric Dyson running around ESPN sports programs, has a great book. I'm not going to push his book, but he's very intelligent. Everyone should Google him and go out and get it. I'm so proud of him for not being afraid to take on POTUS and POTUS's bigotry against a black man who stands up for Black Lives Matter, because all lives matter. And I love him for pushing the dialogue when a lot of people want to say, hey, we already talked about that last year. Let's not upset the white apple cart. I appreciate Dr. Michael Eric Dyson for calling a spade a spade. Colin Kaepernick is being punished for standing up for liberty and justice for all. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, even Bill O'Reilly talking blasted Colin Kaepernick, said that he was part of the reason why the NFL ratings was down. But Bill O'Reilly didn't go out and tell people that he was part of the reason why sexual assault against women was up either.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, that's true.
He didn't advertise that, and he was a reason for that, y'all.
Yeah.
And you got President Trump backing Bill O'Reilly, and he also drove up the percentage of sexual assault on women. So when we look at it, and we have these advocates and very knowledgeable people, I think that's what fears white society even still predicts, is that you have intelligent men of color speaking out about something that they want to keep behind closed doors, and they feel offended because they know it's directly pointing a finger at them, Jonathan.
Yeah.
When they hear these things, whether you're a politician or whether you're a businessman, and you want to blame an African-American quarterback for the problems in America.
Yeah.
And so because he opened his mouth, we have problems, even though you have a president who opened up his mouth an advocate of sexual assault.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And an advocate of beating and violence towards American citizens. But that wasn't negative. But the African-American quarterback who stood up and said, we should not treat Americans like this.
Yeah.
We should have equality for Americans. That everybody wanted to say that he was anti-American.
Yeah.
Because he spoke for all Americans, not just African-Americans. No, he spoke for
all
Americans.
people. All people.
Live under injustice in America.
Yeah.
Because it's wrong. But those people who believe in that, as Donald Trump said, we want to go back to a time before political correctness.
Yeah.
As Americans, I would like to see a show of hands. I know I can't see you, you can't see me and our listeners.
Yeah.
But for all of you who want to go back to a time before political correctness, stand up. Turn to your wife and slap her, okay? That's what you want to do, because that's what you can do before political correctness.
That's what the good old boys did, yeah.
Turn to your spouse and slap her, because before political correctness, that was accepted in society.
Yeah.
You're allowed to commit assault against another person because of your racial status, okay?
Yeah.
That's what you're allowed to do.
And that's true.
Because of political correctness, that was eliminated, Charles.
Yeah.
So, both of those times, women, say that you believe in not having political correctness when you had to take way less pay than what a man did, okay?
Yeah.
When you could be turned down walking in for a job just because you're a woman, okay? Go back to those times when you were not allowed to vote if you don't believe in political correctness. That's what this country has come from, and we have people who want to take it back to.
Well, Big C, that's a very well said. I just want to cover a couple of lines tonight. Thursday night in the NBA, Cleveland's favored by 2.5 over Indiana. That's at Indiana. And then Milwaukee, that game is at home versus Toronto. They're a 1.5 point favorite. And then San Antonio, they're only a 3.5 point favorite on the road at Memphis. Okay, so great NBA basketball happening. But I do want to close out on your thoughts about Tiger Woods. I think he went and had another surgery. I'm not sure if I heard that properly, but I think I was reading where he had another surgery. Your thoughts on the great Tiger Woods and what that could mean in the world of golf, Big C?
Well, when Tiger Woods went in and for a second back procedure, Charles, again, yesterday.
Yeah.
But when you think about some of the great athletes that retired that have had back surgery, we know a lot recently with Rob Gronkowski, who has had back surgery with the New England Patriots that really slowed down his career.
Yeah.
But I think by Tiger Woods having this surgery and made it being publicly known, Charlton, that he was quietly saying to the world of golf, I'm done. Because I cannot get out there and do what I once done. And any athlete, any former athlete who's had multiple surgery knows his body is not what it once was. It's just never the same.
Yeah.
I've had too many to count. Once I got past the dozen, I said, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go on the East End hunt anymore.
And Big C, you did your own surgeries. Those good old boys down south are tough, huh? That's what they got to really know. Big C did his own surgeries, guys. Go right ahead, C.
But I think it came after what Billy Dane had said, Johnson.
Yeah.
I think that was driving and forcing it to say that Tiger had hurt the game of golf and his fans. But Tiger didn't hurt the game of golf in any kind of way. The game of golf is hurting because Tiger is not there.
Yeah.
And Tiger could do this without saying that I'm retiring, I'm giving up the game. Is that I've had these surgeries and there's no timetable.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what Tiger did. So forget about me. Let's see what golf can do without even anticipation of me.
Yeah.
And that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to silence the critics without going out saying, I'm done.
Yeah.
This silenced the critics, Charlton, because now, how do you talk about Tiger Woods? How do you promote a golf tournament saying the anticipation of Tiger Woods joining us for the round or the FedEx Cup or Bob?
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
You got to now promote a golf tournament with the cookie cutter guys that you have out there personality-wise and try to make one of them the face of golf.
Well, Big C, that's a...
Tiger Woods was able to turn his butt on golf without saying anything.
Well, Big C, that's very well said. And the final statement I get from you as we close out on Big C Sports today, so many things going on in the world of sports. I'm glad that women can see someone like Riley, the big and powerful old white guy that takes advantage of women through sexual assault. He should be going to jail. He should at least be prosecuted like they would treat him if he was a young black kid, Big C. And hopefully that can happen down the road. But for all women going through that garbage, just call 911. Don't keep it a secret. Big C, with everything going on in the world of sports, let me have you close out with your final thoughts on what you're looking forward to, Big C.
Well, Charlton, I'm looking for a couple of NBA series to go to a 3-0 in the next couple of nights. Hockey is just hot. We got the NFL draft coming up next week. But, the thing that I look at is all this talk about who's the true MVP. That should have been done when the season was over.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's detracting from what's going on in the playoffs.
Yeah.
There will be a playoff MVP, Jonathan, because he'll be the finals MVP.
Yeah.
That's something that's its own entity, but basketball has gotten to the money point that ESPN wanted to make a show out of what's not a show.
Yeah.
There's no mystery about who the NBA regular season MVP was.
Yeah.
Now you want to say, okay, because of the playoffs, we should change votes. Don't do that.
No, don't do that.
That's what it is. We dealt with enough of that crap in the presidential race, okay?
Yes.
But, ESPN now has commercialized everything. The MVP is no longer giving the MVP at the end of the season. Let's note this. There is no interest in giving out the MVP, Charlton, in another month.
Yeah.
In another 6 weeks. No one cares. Why? Because the NFL will be in training camp.
Yeah.
Basketball will be a secondary thought. Baseball is in its full swing. So who cares at that point? So be real. Man up. Keep tradition. Everything in America cannot be commercialized. Okay?
That's true.
Enough, ESPN. Get some real people on that know sports. Cut out the fashion show and the breast job that we get on TV every day. And man up. And let's do a sports show.
Well, Big C, very well said. As we always say, we appreciate your thoughts very much. And every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time worldwide, follow Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network, the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any woman going through that garbage, simply call 911 so she doesn't have to deal with it on her own. whether it's Donald Trump or Bill O'Reilly, just call 911. And as we always tell you on every program that we bring to you on Big C Sports, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.